invented the seed drill. Are you translating?
And the object of the seed drill is?
The seed drill was to automate the process of planting seeds, to make it quicker and more effective to plant seeds in the ground. So Jethro Tull was, you know, an inventor. He was also a musician. He played the church organ in his local church. And when I was a schoolboy, and even beginning my life as a musician, I didn't know anything about Jethro Tull because I didn't study history at school. So I was very surprised when I realized our agent had given us a name based on a historical character who was dead.
It had been given by the agent?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. I mean, we were all, you know, looking for the same thing, all beginning in the music business. And one of our managers, Chris Wright, who still owns the Chrysalis companies today, apart from the record company which went to E&I 10 years ago, but he still owns the rest of it. And he was the one who tried to stop me playing the flute. He tried to persuade me that flute had no part in the music of the blues, which is what we were playing. And he really worked hard to try and get me to stop playing the flute, and also to stop singing, because I wasn't a very good singer either. But I decided I would persevere and continue to play the flute, and eventually the audience began to respond to the novelty value, the fact that it was an unusual instrument to find in a blues band or a rock band. And I got better at playing it, which helped as well. So I didn't start playing the flute until I was 20 years old, so obviously the first few months it was, you know, it was a strange instrument for me, and I had to learn to play it every night on stage. That's when I did my practice. Well, it wasn't really a battle, and no one was fighting. It was. I think there were those people who regarded blues as a pure music form, and who resented any factor that came into play that deviated from the purist form, which of course was black, it was American, it was in the streets of Chicago, it wasn't in the streets of London. But I wasn't a blues purist. I just enjoyed elements of the music and the opportunity to improvise and work with a simple, emotive music form. So I don't remember there being a battle. It just took a while to get the momentum. But, you know, I wasn't a very good guitar player. I mean, Jethro Tull would not have been successful if I'd been a guitar player. And happily, for me, Eric Clapton couldn't play the flute, and neither could Jimi Hendrix. So, you know, I had a certain advantage. I was the only flute player in town, really, which helped. It's exactly as described. There are some areas of music that I don't think Jethro Tull as a band can really be involved in. And so one solo album I made was for EMI's classical music edition, which is an orchestral music for orchestra and flute. 4 weeks ago, on the 11th of September, I was playing a concert in Italy with a 60-piece Russian orchestra and 5 or 6 other classical flute players from Italy. And obviously it was a tragic day and we had a concert to play, but it was the kind of music that if Jethro Tull as a band had been there, it wouldn't have worked. You know, it had to be intimate, it had to be special, it was me as a solo performer with the orchestra. So sometimes I like to do those things. I like to do something that is outside of the Jethro Tull rock music, even though that is very varied and very interesting for me. Sometimes there are some kinds of music where I need to step outside of Jethro Tull, and I think during the second part of next year I will do that again. I will be doing some performances with other musicians in other parts of the world, but I'll be very busy with Jethro Tull between now and July next year. So I combine both things together. No, the other way around.
Pollination, or
no, I don't think Pink Floyd would have taken anything from Jethro Tull, but I'm sure, particularly in the very early days, you know, Pink Floyd were, for me, an example. I saw them in the summer of 1967, when they had just begun a successful career with
The Arnold Lanes and Emily Play.
Yeah, yeah. And I was very impressed with this band because they were pretty strange, pretty crazy with Sid Barrett playing guitar and singing. And but they had really interesting songs, and what they were doing with music was outside pop music. It was surreal. It was a strange blend of amateurishness, of musical ineptitude, because they were not good musicians, but they were very great musicians doing something pretty strange and pretty crazy. And this was a good part of my understanding of music, that it was good to be radical and different and try things that had never been done before. That was an exciting era. Lots of bands like Pink Floyd who took music in a direction that music had never traveled before in the history of the known universe. This was actually important musical steps. So, you know, Pink Floyd, along with many other bands of that era and musicians from before, you know, part of what music means to me. So I can say that Pink Floyd had a little influence on me in terms of an approach to music. But I don't think Jethro Tull would have had any effect on Pink Floyd, as far as I know. Yeah, well, I guess, you know, there are people who do, once they've achieved some success, for them it is an opportunity to repay the musical debt, to honour the artists that perhaps for them have created some great music, and they would like to do that by performing the works of those other artists. It's not something that I'm able to do. I can't play other people's music. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't sing other people's songs. I can't put myself inside their heads to be able to sing the lyrics. I just can't do it. If I wanted to, I couldn't do it. I just don't have that ability to do other people's music. I find it very, very difficult singing other people's words. It's hard enough singing my own. It's impossible singing somebody else's. So it's not a reality for me. But you know, other people do it. Good luck to them. But not for me, thank you. Yes, I have an interesting story. 2 days before he had to deliver the movie, he called me up and said, "Can you write the main title theme for this music?" And I said, I have to fly to America to start a tour on last day. Can you fly today to wherever it was, somewhere in Scandinavia, and work today and tomorrow in the studio to write and record the main title theme? I said, well, you know, thank you for asking me. It's a great honor to be asked to do this, but it's impossible. I have to pack my suitcase. I have to say goodbye to my cat and my wife. In 2 days, I can't just. I haven't even seen the movie. I don't know what the movie's about. How can I write, you know, an important piece of music just like that? So I had to politely say no. I couldn't do it, and so I didn't. But he used a piece of pre-recorded Jethro Tull music somewhere else. I think perhaps. He used to be a Jethro Tull fan. I say used to be because when I refused to do his title song, he's probably no longer a Jethro Tull fan. He didn't ask me to do his latest movie. That's, you know, a little bit of a prayer. It's very difficult to, you know, we have 10 plus 2 notes to play with in our musical scale that we understand as music. We only have a limited number of ideas, ways to put those 12 notes together to create melody. We only have a few relationships harmonically that we all feel are musical. Rhythmically, we tend to work mostly in very simple rhythms. Complex time signatures are difficult for most people. It's very, very hard to keep coming up with new ideas, and I don't know if that is that collectively we're running out of ideas, or whether this is just a time for imitating and reutilizing ideas that have gone in the past 40, 50 years of popular music. But I don't hear anything that I think is very new. I mean, there's nothing terribly interesting or new for me I think I've heard it all before. But, you know, I was fortunate to grow up in a musical era where a lot of new things happened, where there were really truly some new developments, both in technology and in the approach to making music. So 60s, 70s, even into the 80s when the digital technology became available, those were very exciting years to be a young musician. But it's a whole lot harder now for a young band to find some new territory to plant their flag on and say, this is mine, this is where I live. It's a very crowded world out there and very hard to find a little space to make your own, plant your flag in. I guess I'm fortunate in being a product of the 60s rather than the year 2000 or 2001. I think if I was starting as a musician today, I would look for another job. I think my approach to making music, especially as a performing live, is that I don't go out on tour and make concerts to make the audience happy. I do this to make me happy. You know, I really believe that the prime motivation for being a musician should be, you know, very selfish as for what you get out of it personally. And that way you have an honest approach to entertaining people. If I'm having a good time, then maybe I can convey that to the audience and they will have a good time. But if I'm not enjoying the music, if I'm not passionate about the music, every time I get on the stage, I shouldn't be there. So I don't feel like I'm part of show business. I feel that I am a selfish, arrogant, insular, unpleasant concert musician. I'm not very friendly. I just do what I do, and I go out there to try and make it work for me. And maybe for the other guys in the band. But selfishness is the one area in life where I believe I have a right to be very selfish in my approach. Outside of that, I try to be you know, not selfish. I try to share things with my family, my friends, and be halfway a nice guy. But as a musician, I am obsessive, I am passionate, I'm out there for what I can get from it. I'm a bad lover as a musician. I just want for me.